What's up, everybody? Welcome to 15 Minutes to Fame. I am mikO Tolliver. I am a creative producer and multimedia storyteller, and I'm here to talk to you about how you can use 15-minute spurts to help you achieve your goal and your dream. All right. So we did the first episode of this podcast. Went pretty well. Talked to you about what we're going to do here. And just to remind you, this is a podcast to teach you how to use your time wisely so that you can pursue your goal, especially if you feel like you got a lot of interest or you don't have a lot of time. That's what I'm here to help you with. So I'm going to assume that you already listened to that first podcast episode. If not, go back and check it out. And let's get started on what I think is the most important thing to get started on your goal is to write it out. You need to have a plan. It doesn't need to be a perfect plan, just something kind of loose. My favorite thing that I do is journaling. I'm a big fan of journaling. I've got a ton of journals. I've been journaling off and on since maybe middle school, high school. It's pretty cool. I have a nice collection of them. But I know, you know what? Actually, I've seen people kind of take journaling a different way. Like some people are really into it. I know someone, really great artist, they get up at like 5, 6 a.m. every morning and they type in this journal. I like the old school way. I like to write it out. But I have to admit that even in my writing, like you can hear those footsteps in the back. That's my dog. But even in my writing, I feel like it can be kind of hard for me sometimes because I feel like I can think faster than I can write down. And if I'm just thinking about the process of writing down, it's supposed to be really cathartic. When you come to something like cursive, sometimes I really want to just sit and be super uber focused. And I'm like, I'm going to write this out in cursive. But there are a lot of times I'm just trying to like jot things down. And I go back and I look at some of my notes and I'm even trying to be like, what is that I wrote? Because it's total chicken scratches. But I do want to encourage journaling. For me, aside from just writing it down, I don't use it just to journal like my thoughts and my feelings. I journal out like my plans. I like to take community college courses just for fun. It's a great way to meet people and, work on your skills. And I will use my journal as my notebook, especially if it's something I'm really, really taking a class about that I'm really, really interested in. A few years ago when I started film, I used my journal actually as my notebook in class. Really came in handy because it's great because you go back, you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, it's nice to go back and see kind of where you started, what you were trying to do, whether it was crazy or a harebrained scheme, I don't know. But I do like to watch the progress. For me, journaling is kind of like my spell book. I feel like if I write it down, it's going to happen. And I think I've even heard things like statistics that like, I don't know, if you write something down, it's 60% more likely to happen. Although I've also heard that like 82% of statistics are made up on the spot. So you can take that out if you will. But it is true. Every time I write something down, it's more likely to happen. And for me, if I write it down and if I tell somebody, then I'm like, okay. That's when I feel like there's an accountability that's kind of got to happen there because it's like, all right, I wrote it down. I'm really into it. But I also now I'm telling people and I don't want people to come back. Hey, what happened to that thing you said you were doing? Are you just all talk? No, I really meant that. So aside from journaling, yes, my feelings, my emotions, that's great. My plans to my goals. And I'll try to write out as detailed a plan too. When I'm talking about journaling too, I'm not just talking about like just sit there one day and write out the plan. I'm talking about keep coming back to it, keep changing it up, let it evolve over time. If I pulled out my journal now, it's a little private. I don't want to show you on the video for those of you guys who are watching this on video. But you would see, like I spent like a couple weeks or so just writing out my plan for this podcast. What is the stuff I wanted to talk about? What was the name I wanted to give it? Writing out different episode ideas. Then talking about how I was going to promote it, those plans. That doesn't all happen in one day. So I don't want anybody to put too much pressure on themselves thinking, I got to have all the answer at one moment and one time right away. That's unrealistic. I really don't encourage that. I always encourage aim small, miss small. That's a line that I stole from this movie. I think it was called like The Patriot, like Mel Gibson years ago. But it's true, don't try to aim for something big. Just try to hit a little bit, if you can do 15 minutes of journaling. Maybe you can't even do 15 minutes of journaling. I can't get up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to journal every day. This is how I'm going to start my life. This is how I'm going to go. No, I don't do that. I totally will go days, weeks, maybe, and not journal something. But also in that time, I'm doing other things. But I do think it's great to have some type of plan to back that up of just kind of like what your goals are, and to have that accountability of like, okay, I'm sharing this goal with other people. Other things that can help you with the journaling is to kind of sync it up with your calendar. I've been doing this thing actually like the last year or so, where I try to plan out what's going to happen in the whole next year. And this is actually a trick that I got from Vince McMahon. Some of you guys know me. I am a big wrestling fan, WWE. I wasn't a really big WCW fan. I didn't really like the film quality, but that's another episode. For now, the thing about Vince McMahon, watching some documentaries on the history of wrestling and just the company, they say that Vince McMahon knows what he's going to do a year in advance. Think about that. Think about all the matches, all the pay-per-views, everything. He's a year ahead. When I heard that, I wanted to do that. And I was like, okay. I pulled out my calendar. I'm like, all right, yeah, I know January, we got the first of the year. People are already starting like, oh, wait, here's my New Year's resolution, whether they keep it going or not. We get to about April. That's my birthday. What are my plans here? What I'm trying to do? Summertime. Okay, I know we want to go down Russian River. I like to do a float or some type of trip. Halloween, my favorite time of the year. That's personally my Christmas. We get to Thanksgiving, November, the day after Thanksgiving. Ski resorts open up. It's time to snowboard. You kind of know what you're doing. You're at a point in your life. If you get to like 15 at least. I mean, I don't know who's listening to this. All kinds of people. I'm sure young, old, friends, people I know, people I don't know. But at some point, you get to a place in life, okay, we know some things are happening, right? Let's get a plan together so it's not all hitting us at once, That's a really great way to manage your time. And I like to sit down and write out a plan. I'll pull out my journal and I'll write, okay, in the next 3 months, I want to do this. Now, sometimes you'll write a goal you want to achieve. Like in a perfect world, I'd say in the next 3 months, I want $15 million. But that could be a lot of pressure. You don't want to get 3 months ahead and be like, all right, we only made $1 million. But you know what I mean? Just write some realistic goals. But I do think it is important to dream. So I am going to say in the next 3 months, I would like $15 million. And if it comes true, it comes true. If it takes 6 months, that's fine too. I can forgive myself for being a little late. But yeah, in 3 months, here's my plan for the next 3 months. Let's see, right now, as I'm filming and recording this podcast, it is the middle of November. In fact, it is November 15th. Because remember, I'm trying to give you episodes around the 1st and around the 15th. I know that, like I said, at the end of the month, when we hit Thanksgiving, the day after ski resorts open up, I want to start snowboarding. We hit December. I don't have a plan for December. I got to work on that. But you know what? Some of you guys might be saying, it's time for New Year's resolution. My thing about New Year's resolution is as soon as I think them up, I start it. So starting this podcast, I think actually it was really my New Year's resolution. This is my start of 2026. This is my second podcast. So I started my new year at the beginning of November of this year. So technically in my mind, I'm already in 2026. That's my goal. That's me thinking forward. That's how I want to encourage you to think, okay, what do I want to do ahead? And from there, you can start to work backwards. Like, all right, if I know I want to have 4 episodes out by 2026, January, what do I need to do? How do I need to schedule that? How do I need to reach out to people to help me? What's a little plan that I can come up with? What kind of things do I want to talk about? Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about that you would put in your journal and on your plan. Maybe, like I said, it doesn't have to be in a journal. You could just write it down on a board. If you see right there, you can see that off to my left. That is my whiteboard. That thing is huge. I have all kinds of goals and plans written there. At the top, I put the really, really big things, the things that I know is going to take a while to achieve, especially since it's on the wall. I got to get a little step ladder out so I can get up there. But you know what? Also, in 3 months, I'm going to look back. I'm going to bust out my journal. I'm going to look back over my notes for podcasting. I'm going to look back over my goals and I'm going to go, okay, what did I achieve? What am I still working on? Okay, start with that. Then I also, all right, that's just 3 months. Let's write out a goal for 6 months, 9 months, and then the full year. So that's how you can get started with that. Again, it's having a plan. What do they say if you plan to fail? No, wait, what is it? If you have I can't remember. If you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail. It's something like that. Oh, okay, wait. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. There you go. I thought it up. It's coming. It took a minute there. But that's how important it is to write that stuff out. Write it down. It's so likely going to make it accountable too. Like I write stuff up. I'll stick a Post-it on like my door. So every time I walk out my front door, I see it. I'll take a Post-it, write out a goal. I'll stick it on my bathroom mirror. Every time I'm in the bathroom, every time I'm like doing my face, brushing my teeth, I see it. That's how you hold yourself accountable. Start by just writing it down. And then just the general, it's just so good. It's so cathartic to get it out of your system. Because once you kind of put it down on paper, yeah, that's making it real. But that's you also organizing like, how can I make it real? Because it's the steps you've got to take to make it become something, right? If you're just keeping it all in your mind, then you turn into my personal favorite, the scattered brain. And then every opportunity that is thrown towards you, you probably can't really see because you're thinking you're busy. I'm too busy to do that. We want to get out of that. That is the worst thing. I hate that phrase so much. I'm too busy. I'm just so busy. Oh, I'm busy. Can't do it. I'm busy. Oh, I just remembered. I hate that phrase so much. Instead of saying you're busy, say you're not interested, because that's the real issue. I am never busy for something I really want to do. Even if I can only find 2 minutes to give something to it, it totally works. So, getting yourself a plan is how you get yourself organized. Like I said, I've been journaling off and on since I was like middle school, high school. A funny little thing is I remember in like middle school or something, writing down in my journal, this little personal story for you. Writing in my journal, I don't know, my mom yelled at me or something about whatever, who knows, but I was so mad. I was like, oh, I hate her. She's so mad. She's so bad. Right. And I think that she found my journal and read it. I hate that. I do hate when people read my journal. It's a personal thing for me. I write really personal things in it. Not only did she find it and read it, then I think she punished me for like what she read in there. And I'm like, well, that's my own personal, I get to have thoughts and stuff to myself. So I don't know. So watch yourself. People are going to read your journal. One day when I transition on, we pass on to the next world, I'll leave that's like several books, a ton of books of just like personal notes and stuff. So that's how important journaling is to me. Again, having a plan. And here's actually a really cool journaling exercise I want to really leave you with. This is something that someone gave to me. And when I used it, I thought it was kind of crazy, but it was kind of cool. You can do it either for 30 days or 60 days straight. Let's see how consistent you can be. But you're going to write out a phrase, a sentence like, in 15 years, I want to be in Japan snowboarding. I'm going to change that. No. Within 5 years, I want to be able to go to Japan, go snowboarding, hang out in downtown in Tokyo, and live a dream of a great vacation. Okay, if that's a goal I have, I'm going to wake up. First thing I do in the morning when I wake up, I'm going to write it 3 times. Then when it comes to lunchtime, I'm going to write it 6 times. And then right before bed, I'm going to write it 9 times. 3, 6, 9. And I'm going to do that every day for 30 days straight. I have actually done this. That will get you focused on what your goal is, what you're trying to do. You'll have it in your journal and you'll be able to go back and be like, wow, okay, I really care about this. I want to make it happen. I want to see you try that. Just try this for 30 days straight. You're going to write out a goal. It's just one sentence. You can be as long as you want, however you want to do it. You're going to write it. Wake up First thing, write it 3 times, at lunchtime 6 times, right before bed 9 times, 30 days straight. Let me know how that works for you. In the meantime, I'll be here trying to come up with more things to help you with. I'll be here with my dog who's going to hang out with us, come join us sometimes. And I'm still planning to bring some of my friends. So here we are, 15 minutes to fame. I'm mikO Tolliver. Don't forget to check out my website, www.mikotolliver.com. That's Tolliver, Tolliver, 2 L's. Definitely follow me around on social media, at mikO Tolliver. Definitely subscribe to my Patreon. I could use some help, definitely, to keep this podcast going. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Subscribe to this podcast so you make sure you get, every time I come up with a new episode, you get it. All right, 15 minutes to fame. I'm mikO Tolliver. Thank you for joining me.